Hello, my name is Alun. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm facilitating the third of a four-session series of Eotenweard, my PbtA in game in develop PbtA game in development. That's too big a mouthful. Of Dark Age heroes confronting a darkness pervading the land. I'm not going to say any more than that, really, except because we'll pick up immediately where we left off. Go back and look at sessions 1 and session 2 if you want to know some more about it. What I will say is that we are playing as part of the Open Hearth gaming community using the monthly online calendar. If you don't know about Open Hearth, then search Open Hearth and Google will bring you to us. We think it's a good community and we play interesting games. So up to you. But for now, I will just reframe the scene where we left off. Previously on Eotenweard, we will see our three heroes, Izold the storyteller, Cola the hunter, Gwylog the commoner, who's actually dead, but he doesn't know he's dead, the revenant, have arrived at Stenholm, a settlement in Bernicia in the north of England in about 550, 560 AD. And they find Stenholm, I mean, the stuff that we wrote down was things like sick and dying livestock, an estuary that's yielding no fish. The people look unhealthy and hungry. And we know that this settlement has been raiding across the border to a settlement. Go back to session 1. And in the distance, we see a dark forest and the estuary nearby, which will be misty at some point. And they see the Lord Storyteller, his skald, his bard, his scop, I think is the Anglo-Saxon word for it, in conversation with a stooped, hooded figure. And as we're watching them having the conversation, we're not entirely certain what the nature of the conversation is, observed by the characters. A songbird flits from the roof of the hall, aiming clearly for the roof of a nearby hut, passing over this couple, the Eowyn and this hooded figure, and it dies in the air and crashes down, well, falls down, flits down, because it's a light bird, at the feet of Gwylog, our commoner. Gwylog picks up the bird, and almost unknown to him, the gift he has been granted by his gods to called Pain's Balm, to relieve the pain of others, activates, and the bird flits into life and flies away. Everybody, the characters see this. The storyteller, Eowyn, the storyteller, sees this, and the hooded figure turns towards Gwylog and points, "You man who are not man, beware," or words to that effect, and then steps into nothing and is gone. And we left it with the storyteller, Eowyn, the Lord Storyteller, turning towards our heroes with amazement, taking a step towards Gwylog and saying, "How did you do that?"
I don't really know. It was as if the gods were talking to me, and all of a sudden the bird was alive again. I didn't do anything really.
Can you do that with other living things?
I mean, I can heal, yes. I have experience in that, but I don't. I normally don't bring the dead back from the grave.
Come, you must explain to my lady. And he bustles you into the hall, where
To be honest, I don't know what happened here.
sitting in stark, it's a hall that may have seen happier times, may have seen richer times, but now looks pretty threadbare. A thin, slightly drawn woman, the Lady Don Gifu, is sat in the chair of judgment before a fire pit that is, it's a light, but it seems to be giving off no heat in this shady place. I'm going to go to Izold, our own storyteller, who's always keen to put his first foot forward. Izold, you come into the presence of the lady Don Gifu. What do you do?
I think Izold does what the etiquette demands. He bows in half, taking his hat off, wiping the floor with it almost, and addresses the lady, lady of Stenholm, Lady Don Gifu. I bid you welcome. We are weary travelers who came here and want to, if possible, help you with your predicaments.
And the storyteller Aelwyn takes this opportunity to say, my lady, this one," and he gestures to Gwylog, "a bird fell from the air and he picked it up and it took flight again. It was miraculous." And the Lady Don Gifu gives Gwylog a kind of appraising look. "We may have need of someone with talents that would allow the healing." "Is this what you mean," she says, turning to Izold, "when you say you have come to help us?"
We have heard on the road that Stenholm and I'm looking for the name of the land, and the land
Bernicia?
of Bernicia are having problem with famine. We were hoping that we might maybe help with that, but if there are other pressing matters, we all have our talents.
There is no more pressing matter than feeding my people. And oh, that it was true of Bernicia, but it is true of us. And you, the quiet one at the back.
My lady, I know that you seem to be in trouble of food, but I couldn't help but notice that you've been making deals with creatures not of this land. You can explain what that's about? What's that all about?
And she turns to Izold, to Aelwyn. And he says, "My lady, they saw me speaking to the emissary." "What do you know of the emissary?" she says to the three of you.
We are just...
Cola, start off.
The others might be more knowledgeable about this than me, but we've had a run-in with one of their kind, and at the end of the day, they're not all too amicable on our ends.
Izold, you pick up and run with that?
I do not say anymore. I'll just wait for her to respond.
We find ourselves in challenging times. Creatures stalk the land and hold us to ransom. If you can help free us from the yoke they lay upon us, I would be very grateful. Do any of you give her any indication that you are prepared to help? I mean, you've said you're here to help. I just think she's looking for some reassurance of some concrete. Now she's laid out the problem from her point of view.
I think Izold picks up, and as he's standing straight, he says, "Milady, dealings with the dwellers of the dark forest we have seen while coming here. No, she said she. How did she name them?
Aelwyn called the creature outside the emissary, and she's just talked about creatures holding them to ransom.
Yes, rephrasing. This kind of creatures, as the stories and legends tell us, they usually have some beliefs or hold us accountable to some very old treaties that someone might have made. Can you, milady, go into more details about the particular nature of why they hold you ransom?
Have you not seen the fields? Have you not seen our animals? The fishing boats are drawn up at the estuary. There is no fish in the water. We are starving. That is what they hold over us.
Did they give any reason? You called that one the emissary. Did he demand anything, or
they demand that we keep some treaty, but we know nothing of any treaty. They talk of a long time ago as if it was yesterday.
Exactly, but since you don't know the treaty, well, do you know, do the emissary come here often? Because in order to resolve this issue, we have to learn about the treaty. Do you, milady, have some library, some journals of your predecessors, long-lasting family stories, or any way to meet this emissary, because he wasn't staying long enough to explain?
All we think is that it comes from the time of the giants, the times of myth, before we came to this land. Because I'll remind you that this is a Saxon settlement, so they've arrived in numbers post-Rome. Anyone want to lean into any move here? Because if not, I think I'll close that scene and ask you if there is an insight that you get out of this.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it will be very generic, and basically be like an old. I'm not sure if this is about, but like old treaty, and then we can like see, because we don't know much about it yet.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. So I'm going to put in
old treaty between the Fey folk and the humans, maybe, like, or just old treaty.
I think an ancient treaty is probably the safest bet at this point, because then you're not bound by your assumption that this is Fey. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but so I think probably we cut to the three of you leaving the hall, having been given permission, if you will, to help. But the question is, you know the way this works now. You need to gain insights in order to finally define the darkness haunting Stenholm and addressing it. Now, clearly, you know, sick animals and blighted crops are the problem, but what's causing that? Okay, so thoughts about where you want to go in search of an insight?
I think perhaps before that, as we're like leaving the hall, Cola will just like go to Izold and really just be like, I don't trust the lady. They talk about being held hostage, that they cannot combat this threat, and yet they have enough men to send a staging party to Talham and other settlements. Something doesn't add up here.
What are you angling for here, Cola? Are you angling for an admission, or are you trying to get some leverage over the lady?
At this moment, I don't think Cola's like trying to force a confession or anything. Like,
he just wants her to know that you know.
He didn't say this already. Like, he just told this to Izold and Gwylog.
Sorry, right.
Just to keep them from that, apparently this village, Stenholm, is under threat. They need us to combat it, but they have enough able-bodied warriors to send out as a raiding party to other settlements.
Yeah, the warrior said that they have a famine. They're not wanting for men, they're wanting for food. So that might be why they sent them.
Well, Cola, their warriors obviously lack the courage that you have and in that you have shown us while dealing with this traitor in I'm looking for the name of the previous town. Tarham. So I assume it's easier to raid than the neighboring village where you know what you're gonna find rather than fight the unknown. But I have a suggestion because I was thinking of going and questioning Elwin. He seemed like maybe the only one who might have heard some old stories from some folk who lived here when they came in. Maybe he has some stories he's forbidden to tell to the general folk by the milady that may shed some light on the current predicament. However, I lack the skill to track this emissary and have a chat with him because it would be good to know their end of the story as well, and then we can devise some ideas of what's happening.
And on the former note, it seems to me that they are lacking the skills to live off the land. I mean, blighted crops, yes, but they don't seem to have hunters that are able to supply the village. Maybe you could show them a trick or two, Cola, and I will take care of the sick livestock. See if I can find something there. See if something seems out of the ordinary to me.
Okay, so what I'm seeing, and stop me if I got this wrong, is that Gwylog is going to go and see this livestock, see if the skinny cattle in the fields. Izold is going to have a conversation with Aelwyn. And Cola, are you going to talk? Because we have the aging hunter, don't we? Eotenweard, the aging hunter. Is that okay? So I'm seeing three scenes running at the same time. So let's start with Gwylog then. There's no question that you just walk to the enclosure where the cattle and the sheep are to be found, and maybe there's the odd pig, skinny pig, snuffling around the village. So there's no difficulty finding a sick animal. What do we see you doing?
I think I'm interested in two things. One is that I would like also to talk to the people and like ask questions like, how long have the animals been like that, and are they really just like famished, or are they sick too? And to that effect, I would also like to check the animals. I don't know what you do, like check the hoofs, look into mouths, and all the openings. I don't know what the veterinarians do.
Because you're a better healer than you know. So you're quite good at healing, but you're no physician. So I think this is look about you, because you want the answer to some questions, don't you?
That sounds good.
So this is look about you, roll plus sense.
Sense. Will
you look at that? Will you look at that?
The men without sense.
For our viewers, it's a snake eyes.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes. I think I want to roll seeming human at this point to see if that's the problem.
Sure. No, it's not.
Oh no, anything but. So it's not the seeming. So it's not that people are suspicious of your look, because you do look, not very, handsome, shall we say?
But that leads us to like two possible answers, because it is something that Gwylog should be able to spot if there was something to spot. So either there is nothing to spot, or he is looking in the wrong place. And I find the idea of there not being anything to spot more interesting, actually, that the animals are actually healthy. They're just thin and emaciated because, but there's nothing physically wrong with the animals or the people, really.
You are struggling to find any
Mhm.
sign of infection.
Hmm.
But I think when it comes to the people, clearly word of your miracle has spread,
Mhm.
and people are very nervous of you and avoid talking to you.
Hmm.
So while your seeming is perfectly maintained, it is what you've done that has frightened them, not what
Yes.
you are.
I'm obviously a witcher.
Yeah. So I think you are going to be at disadvantage with some of those social skills, social scenes, for a little while until maybe they feel less nervous of you, or you make a concrete effort to show them that you're just like any other dead person.
Mhm.
Cola, what do you want to do?
Now, Cola's going to look for the hunter because I'm going to like assume that another way into Stenholm, like we probably saw like maybe like a little like a hut somewhere a bit further out of town, which may like signal like towards a hunter.
Okay,
Uh,
why don't we have why don't we put his hut beyond the edge of the village? And I'm imagining the village, a river, and a broad estuary with the tide is out, so there's a beach, and at the top of the beach is a driftwood hut in which our aging hunter lives. Does that sound right? Okay.
that sounds good.
Okay. So you approach this and you find him, sat on a chunk of driftwood outside his hut, repairing nets, because he's also the fisherman, isn't he? What do you do?
Yep. So Cola's going to probably call out to the hunter and probably like give. I don't know if there was like any like universal sign during this time to like maybe signify him also a hunter.
I
But
mean, I'm thinking that almost the fact that you're probably wearing some clothes that have been handcrafted from skins, or so I think it's probably your demeanor and the way you're dressed that signals I'm a hunter too. You've got a bow, so I think he looks up and he's aging, and he's got slightly kind of rheumy eyes. He squints, uh and says, what can I do for you, young man? And we know that you're not a young man, but you're younger than him.
here the fellow hunter. And me and my compatriots have come to Stenholm today. We
Ah,
heard of the
well,
troubles, the famine.
well, we don't need another hunter. There's not enough game for one hunter.
So I've heard it, but I also know that dark forces that around Stenholm, they might be the cause of your issues.
Ah,
So
yes, 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 yes. So Aylwin says, um, this emissary that keeps coming and demanding things. I don't know what the conversation is about. Um, but all I know is that there are no fish out there, gesturing at the estuary, and I've walked for miles around. I've not even caught a rabbit.
yes, but as the hunter of Stenholm, you obviously know your ways around here, more so than the average.
Well,
Uh,
within reason. I mean, I wouldn't
yeah,
go near the forest, obviously.
yeah, so in that sense, what can you tell me about the area recently?
Oh,
With
nobody goes in the forest.
any particular reason why, besides the
Uh,
dead bodies hanging out the trees?
anyone who goes into the forest doesn't come back. The last person to go into the forest was probably my grandfather's brother's sister.
And then Neil came back. Do you perhaps know why they went in?
Stupidity. Let's have you roll to look about you to see what else you can glean from this conversation, if anything.
Let me just remember look about you is roll plus sense.
Roll
Okay.
plus sense, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's a 9.
It's a 9. Okay, so on a 9, I will tell you something relevant, or I may even ask you to suggest something that interests you. In either case, they become a truth. Or do you want to add a detail to the scene? So do you want an answer to a question, or do you want to add something, a detail to the scene that you think might be useful or appropriate?
Let's see, my kind of goal with like coming to the hunter here was to basically glean information about was there any like strange attacks or like strange people or creatures that have been roaming the land
Okay.
recently.
Okay.
So that's my angle with the questioning.
I don't think the only bit of the local environment that is a concern to him is that forest. And he says, you know, if you get close enough to it, you'll see that it bears strange fruit.
Do you know what sort of creatures lie in there?
No one's been there since my grandfather's brother's sister. She went collecting mushrooms, never came back. Everybody knows not to go anywhere near it.
Much
We leave it alone, it leaves us alone.
Much thanks, old hunter. I feel like I've got an idea about my next move now.
Well, I mean, do you want to phrase an insight on the basis of that conversation?
Yeah, let's see. There's like you mentioned strange fruit that no one comes back in the forest. So I think perhaps, and we do know that there's a farmer going about, and there's apparently like food in the forest, but you're not supposed to take it. So I think maybe like these strange fruits could be like a good vague detail.
So if I make our second insight strange fruit, ... Yeah? Is that enough?
That sounds amazing to me. Not my scene, but sounds really good.
Okay, let's go with that. Izold, you said that you were going in search of Aelwyn. And I think probably the simple thing to do is you left him in the hall with the lady. But I think for convenience, as you turn to go back and find him, he comes out of the hall, unless you want to have this conversation in the presence of Lady Don Gifu. Oh, you are muted.
Definitely not. So, so Izold smiles, put on his most efficient smile, and he says, "I'm sorry, Aelwyn, yes."
Yes. I'm sorry about that. She's under a great deal of pressure.
I understand. Is there a place in your wonderful village where a man can get a meal and some meat? We were like out on the road, and maybe you can like accompany, show me around your Stenholm.
And yeah, he's happy to. He's generous by nature, and he will take you to the alewife who makes the ale here, and will, you know, explain to her, no, he's with me, just serve him, and you'll get a kind of cup of ale that he will share with you, and what, you want to take that ale and wander around the village?
I think sitting, if there is some place to sit, it's enough for Izold.
Fine. Yeah,
And then and then Izold like starts like the usual exchanging of stories, because it's like a storyteller to storyteller. But at some point, Elwyn like steers this conversation into a different point, and he says, "Okay, Elwyn, we like talked for a while, we shared a meat. Now I have to like really ask you about some, old stories, because we all like old stories. The stories of the people who were here maybe before you arrived. There must have been some people, so there must have some stories to share. I mean, before you probably like get rid of them or something. But I was really curious. Maybe some stuff that you don't share every Tuesday or Wednesday of the week with the people because they are just too scary about, because, I'm just interested.
Let's have you roll to look about you to see how this request is received. Roll plus sense.
It's a snake eyes again.
+1, so it's a whole 3.
Yes.
I will remind you, and I should have done this for Dominic when he rolled snake eyes, there is the help yourself move. I mean, I'm not sure it would have been relevant in Gwylog's situation, but you are here talking about old stories. Oh, hang on. Shouldn't you roll another dice? Because don't you get advantage for myths and monsters?
They are only for something supernatural, and
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'd forgotten. So your calling is a storyteller. Here you are seeking stories, so help yourself would be relevant.
yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So
Okay,
get the
pick
story.
one. Owe your patron a debt, or make a blood sacrifice to the Christ God.
I think it's owing a debt. I mean,
Fine.
last time it went awesome, so why not?
Fine. Well, down there on row 64, you can owe the Christ God a debt, and that allows you to roll one or both of those die.
Let's roll both. I think it's hard.
You
to
don't want to
come.
keep that one. Okay.
I think it's hard that it will come any worse.
So
this time it's an 8.
Fine, that turns into an 8. I just so the three of you know, I've altered the acceleration of shade, so it's only if you end up with a fail that I mark it, and that should slow down that track, which accelerated very quickly last time. So the fact that doesn't end up as a fail means I will not mark shade. So to our listeners, shade is a clock that is running to escalate the impact of what's going on at Stenholm. So Izold, that turns into a 7+. I'm happy to hear what interests you that comes out of this conversation if you want to, or I'll fill in.
Yeah, I'm thinking how to make it not so dark and something like doable. So so my mind is wondering, and maybe you can help me to shape it up, that probably there was some kind of like a treaty that humans living in this part will do something for the Fae in exchange for this land to be really flourishing. Except I'm not sure like how to not make it like super dark, like I don't know, sacrifice someone like every year or something. I'm just like looking if you have some idea like how to maybe not do it like so super dark.
Actually, like sacrifice could go in very interesting directions with Gwylog.
Yeah, let's sacrifice the dead man.
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts.
Well, we'll find out.
Okay.
And nobody knows he's dead yet.
I mean, if all of you guys are okay with it.
Because the writer's room, between episode 2 and episode 3, are really kind of racking their brains on how do we advance the story arc about Gwylog realizing he's dead.
I think that is the golden ticket. I really like that.
Yeah, let's go with it.
So I think I'm prepared to give Izold the insight of human sacrifice. It's not in our lines, is it, or veils? Well, lines certainly.
That's why I'm asking if everyone is okay with it, because we crossed slavery, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it's coming really close to it somehow, or even worse.
Well, what if? Yeah, I mean, it only works for Gwylog's arc if this is actual human sacrifice.
Yeah, he is
It's
sacrificing
not
himself.
like, people could agree to go and spend 10 years with the Fae or something, because that's not going to test his death. So let me check in.
Oh, I have some.
Go on.
It will not be about sacrifice, but maybe let's say that they had a deal that that a man, because let's not make it a woman, that a man every year has like walk into the forest, and it doesn't say what happened with him, and in exchange for this year, the land will flourish.
A man must enter the forest.
Perhaps if we don't want to just make it like too short a time, maybe I can be like, yeah, someone must enter the forest, but instead like every year it's like maybe like every couple of decades. Because we
Well,
also need to,
because
because we
that's
also
an
need to give
interesting
it a,
question. Because yeah, so I don't think we need to worry about the timeline yet, the interval. I think that what about this? What about this? A man sacrifices himself. Then that's pretty open.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. My only like potential issue with like the time is that the people obviously like don't know why this is happening. So if it were like every year, then obviously they would know like, oh, this year something going to fall. So
Yeah.
that must be it.
Yeah, it has to be like a few hundred years so people
Yeah.
forget.
It has to be long enough for people to have forgotten, doesn't it?
Once a decade, but yeah.
Well, I mean, let's not
Yeah.
fret on that. And I think the way this comes out, Izold, is that Aelwyn reminds you of stories that involve someone going into the dark forest. The dark forest is a place of fear and concern for these people. It's a wild place. And it is for all the peoples who have lived on these islands. And so it is that sometimes someone must go into the forest. I'm going back. A man must enter the forest, actually, is whether he sacrifices himself or not, no one knows. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. Yeah. If it's vague enough, we can tweak it into narrative when we get to it. So he reminds you of a story. The conversation brings that to your mind. And then I'm inclined to get you back together, perhaps each with a cup of ale, now that Izold knows where the barrel is kept. What's our thinking about what happens next? Let me go back round to Gwylog. What are you thinking?
Just solipsistically thinking about how we can Gwylog to sacrifice himself. I think so he is not very keen on living anyway and doesn't think much of himself, and maybe something could happen that shows him like how, or maybe this patron could like give him this quest like to redeem himself. But that doesn't bring us any further in so far as to answer the question what happens in the story.
I don't know if this will like maybe help you come up with something, but Cola was going to probably suggest like perhaps like going into the forest to like inspect the like fruit and like the area, because obviously something's in there. So Cola would suggest to for all of us to just head into the forest. So I don't know if that helps if you have what you want to do, listen.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
could
you've
take
been
the story.
told not to go.
Yeah, we could
So
take the
obviously
story.
you're going to go.
Obviously.
We could take the story in a like stalker direction, right? That it's like this zone, and we go in, and like 3 people go in, 2 people come out, and along the lines in there we get like tested, and in the end there's that big decision.
Well, my question then is, if you begin to see the forest as more of a climactic scene, do you want to visit the Misty Estuary first and keep the forest in your back pockets? I'm just in terms of structure. If we're aiming for the forest to be a key part of this, maybe, because at the minute you've got 3 as your as 3 details, so you're currently at -1 in terms of rolling for a revelation. What do you think?
Yeah, it's too early for us to adjust like this as you said, what could potentially be going on.
I can see the forest potentially being all we do next session.
Fair enough. I don't quite know why the formula for revelation isn't working, but I'm not going to worry about that now. Anyway, so I do know why it's not working. It's just occurred to me. Oh no, I don't. Okay, forget it. As you've been having this conversation, the mists roll in with the tide. And so our estuary is now a misty estuary. What do we do? Cola, you are a man of the outdoors. What approach are you taking as you head down into the mists?
Of course, probably, since it's misty, it will be harder to see. So Cola's just keeping his other senses, his ears and his nose, more keen, just to make sure that if he cannot see potential danger, then he can at least hear it, or because smell it before it.
I get that. Because yeah, you're right. The obvious problem here is getting lost in the mists and maybe stumbling into the estuary and drowning. Who knows? And it's go on.
As you are saying that you will go there, I think Izold has like this. Oh, God! Before you go there, there was this like old folk story about. I mean, some folk some creatures like to live in the dark forests. Some other like to live in the water environments, and the story says that they are always more welcoming to people wearing garlands. So maybe if you can like pick up some flowers and weave it into like a garland, it will be like they will be like more favorable to you. I know it sounds stupid, but trust me, that's what the story says.
Well, shall we test whether this story actually has any effect? Because this does seem to be leaning into myths and monsters. So I'm very happy for you to roll Look About You with advantage, Izold. And it is possible that that we will get some benefit out of that.
I was actually just trying to help Cola when he goes there, so that he has the advantage, not me.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I mean, you could pass advantage around.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Just like he's going there.
Let's see what we can discover about that.
Yeah. Okay. So should do with advantage with that.
So Look About You, Izold, to see whether you can get a good enough result to have something to pass on.
Okay, you want me to roll? Okay.
Oh yeah, because this is your story. Is your story right? Is the bottom line here?
Okay. Wait. Look About You is sense. I'm having real trouble rolling anything with soul other than calling godly gifts. I'm having real trouble. I have everything marked, and I cannot have. I don't have any idea how to do
Well,
it.
I mean, you know, what you need to do is to think about the more general moves, the ones that say, you know, a relevant attribute, and then frame your action in a way that you think is all about your faith.
In a Saxon environment, what any Christians. Anyway, it's a nice 6,
Oh, gee whiz.
even with advantage.
Okay, I will advance the shade clock. And sadly, Cola, you weave the garland, you wear it, and but it's not going to have any effect on you. I don't think help another hero kicks in here. I am prepared, though, Izold, for you to use help yourself if you want to try and re-roll some of those dice.
No,
All
I'm
it
good.
costs you is another debt.
No, I'm good. I mean, last time I brought some wreaking havoc to the village. Why not do it again? You know, I'm a storyteller.
Okay, okay. So we leave that as a fail. And into the mist you go. Gwylog, are you going as well? Izold, are all three of you going down to the estuary? I should have checked. Yeah? Okay.
Well, I
So
do the garland spiel.
Cola, you take the lead, and there is a location move to do with the descriptor, Misty. When you approach the location with this descriptor, Misty, the fates ask you which hero takes the lead, Cola, foreshadows the risks and consequences. Well, we've kind of done that. It is a dense mist. It's difficult to see your hand in front of your face. There are risks here about losing contact with one another or getting confused about where you are. So do you continue, Cola? I just need to check.
Yes, Gwylog continues. And after moving deep in the mist, Gwylog just like sends out Izold and Gwylog.
I think what I will tell you for nothing, Cola, is this is odd. The mist is dense. This is the kind of mist that you find in Arkham. You know, this is a dangerous kind of mist. But and you talked about focusing on your other senses to keep track of things, yeah? So sense is the best for perception. So let's have roll plus sense.
I was actually thinking that perhaps in this mist, perhaps it's like so thick and like Gwylog cannot like see absolutely anything, that in this situation, Gwylog perhaps calls upon
The hawk.
maybe not the hawk. I was thinking to call upon just see his patron Woden to guide him through this impenetrable mist.
I mean, I don't think it falls within the remit of your gift. Your patron sometimes lets you send or receive sights or sounds to places normally denied you. That might allow you to listen if there's anything out there, but I think in terms of making your way successfully through it, there is a gift called the sight, but I think that's what this is aimed at, not sights and sounds. So the hunting beast, you know, your hawk.
Yeah. In that case, of course, we're going to I think perhaps like as like this mist is going, perhaps like he's in like the distance, the hawk calling out to Koala and like leading him in a certain direction.
Yeah, go with that. So that gives you advantage. So roll 3 dice, take the top 2, and add sense.
That's a 7.
Whew, close thing. So on a 7, you will be able to find your way through this. But the mist doesn't disperse, so it's going to remain, conceivably, the mist remains a problem. But you've got through it without any particular problem. And the next thing you know, the three of you are stood there with the tide just lapping around your feet. And the mist just thins for a moment, and all three of you see something break the surface and then disappear. And as it does so, a ripple runs out towards you, and the water laps up to your ankle. So there's something big in the water, is what I am foreshadowing. Yeah? What do you do? I wonder.
Cola, we have
Izold,
to move.
Yeah, Klaus is just going to take out his axe now that there's some danger, and he's just going to go to his Gwylog, move now, and he's just going to keep moving in the direction that the hawk is sounding. Hope to just get through it quickly.
Okay, okay. So you've
Let's-
negotiated the risk of getting lost. You continue to take the lead. I've given you a sense of the potential threat out there. You are continuing. I'm curious, Cola, are you trying to avoid whatever's out there in the water or not?
I feel like Cola perhaps like wouldn't necessarily avoid it, but due to the mist and the fact that he has both Izold and Gwylog, who aren't probably the best combatants, even if Gwylog does have like some impressive strength, he probably would, in this case, like try and like avoid this creature.
Okay. How are you trying to avoid it? Is this sneaking? Is this trying to create a distraction? How are you going to try to keep this thing away from you as the three of you make your way across this incoming tide?
Moving slowly and carefully.
Does that work for you, Cola? Because you're the man at the front.
I was thinking that perhaps like Cola, as like them moving, because like trying to actually no, there's a mist, so he wouldn't be able to see the deeper sea of water. I think in this case, Cola is going to perhaps like just shoot Gwylog and Izold to move up ahead and like just follow the sound of the hawk. And Cola is just going to like stay back a bit and is probably just going to just
That sounds an
to focus on him.
awful lot like using the others as bait.
No, and I think you're using the I was thinking more like, okay, you two just move ahead. Please, I'll follow the sound of the hawk. I'm going to stay behind just a bit, and then I'll probably just do something to get this thing's attention.
Can I suggest, because I maybe closed you down on Soul a bit earlier just now, and I think I want to reopen that box. I think that if you just trust in Woden to guide your footsteps, I would let you roll plus Soul if you wanted to.
I'll take that because much like Pavel, I'm having difficulties trying to figure out like, exactly when someone like Cola, who's pretty much practical, would use
That's
Soul.
my fault. If you want to just trust in your god or gods, I'll let that go with Soul, because you're quite right. I need to create more opportunities for you to use Soul. So let's have you roll plus Soul then.
Okay, that's a -1.
But I am going to put you in the front because Woden does not back up people who stand at the rear.
Yeah, in this case, Klaus keep at the front, and that's an 8.
An 8. So on 7+, the fate reveals the nature of the threat. And you, as you're walking out across this incoming tide, you're now up to your waist, all three of you in water. And you can feel that the tide moving. And there's a thinning of the mist. And you see just what looks like a series of fins just pass through the water. There is some kind of very large animal out here, if that wasn't obvious already. I think that you are going to struggle to get past this thing without doing something fairly radical.
Mm-hmm.
Woden has given you warning of what's out here. It's some kind of water, huge eel, some kind of water drake. Don't know. Great water snake, maybe, but that wouldn't have serrated fins. So I think probably you are going to have to find a way to get past it. Confront it or trick it. And Cola is kind of pointing into the mist where it's thinned, and all three of you see this.
I feel
Gwylog,
like
given your effectiveness at knocking animals to the ground, I'm just curious, viewers, see episode 2. I'm just curious whether you've got any thoughts on this.
I mean, aside from a quick prayer to Canonos, nope. I would refer to my hunter on that.
Okay. Because I'm not going to go to Izold for a suggestion here, unless one punch Gwylog. Yeah, that's what they call him.
I mean, so happens I have a suggestion.
Oh well, go for it,
Yeah.
Izold.
I think Izold sticks his stuff into the water so that it stays here, takes his bagpipe, and starts to play.
Oh, God.
Because that never goes wrong, does it?
You are a crazy man.
That never goes wrong. I mean,
Ah.
maybe just want some friends.
Okay, let's have you roll. What is are you looking to frighten it away here?
he's playing bagpipes. But it's the obvious answer.
Everything. So are you trying to frighten it away? Because I think it's only fair at this point. I should tell you what its defenses are.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at a set of defenses that are hard scales, the capacity to wrap its body around its victims, and its capacity to strike swiftly. And at the minute, bagpipes strike me as rolling with disadvantage against any of those three. I think it worked with the spirits.
So why not just do attend me? Because obviously my actions will like draw it to me.
Exactly. But might give somebody else advantage. Fine. So let's roll to attend you. So to do attend you, though, you have to tell me something, don't you? When you call for attention, perform or remind us what happened when a past performer offended someone. Roll plus subtle. So who did a performance of yours kind of offend?
I think trying not to think about something super obvious. I think before we got to Tarham, we were at some tavern on the road.
Let me open the box further. You can go back to before you ever met these two. You know, this could be a flashback a decade if you want it to be.
Okay. So we see so there was this time where Izold was the beginning storyteller, and he was kind of trying to be funny and tell jokes, and he was telling jokes about citizens of this one village who are very not wise and very blunt. And sadly, to his the end of the story, there were some members of this, some representatives of said village in the tavern, and they didn't too kindly to Izold jokes about them.
I and you can tweet this if you don't like it. I've put a terrible stand-up routine that offended villagers.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Where
Okay.
did you put it?
So let's have you roll plus subtle.
Oh, yes. Yes, only 2 dice. Let's multiply it by 2. It's a 9.
Getting better all the time.
Yes.
Say who or what stops, watches, and listens for long enough for another hero to act with advantage. So I'm guessing that you want the
adversary.
Okay. So I think the water drake, this sinuous, scaled, silvery scaled water dragon of sorts. It's probably about 20 feet long. At its widest, it's probably the width of 2 strong men's thighs. And it rears out of the water and is peculiarly fascinated by the vibrations of the bagpipe. Does Cola or Gwylog have a view of how they might use the advantage that Izold has created for them? Because it is now disadvantaged. Anyone can have a go.
Yeah, just to finish the sentence, I think as we see the snake rise up, Izold says to himself, "Damn it, I knew I should have brought some flute." Because, flute works on snakes.
Cola, you led him out here. Do you want to take advantage of the advantage, or do you want to hand it off to Gwylog?
I want to hand it off to Gwylog because I feel like Cola's kind of had like the brand spotlight of this like little travel scene, so I kind of want to share it down with Gwylog. But if Gwylog doesn't really have any like idea about what to do, then I can suggest something.
Gwylog, there is a moment of opportunity. Can you think what you'd like to use that for, or do you want to pass it back to Cola?
I mean, not for Gwylog. The cowardly Gwylog will not attack. So you look at me, I look at you, and the ball is in your court again, Cola.
Okay, I think Cola in this case, seeing as the creature is distracted, I think Cola would take this moment like to take out his bow and like aim it at like the creature's eyes, like to just blind it, to give them to like maybe like skill it tough, or if nothing else, to give them a better chances to just like get away as it can see.
Okay. I think that's addressing the defense. Its capacity to spot you and strike quickly. Yeah. So let's have you roll to target that small target, one of those eyes. Let's have you roll plus sense. Oh, sorry. Did anybody fill all 4 of the? Oh, you've cleared it. Fine. Great.
Yes.
So roll plus sense to confront this creature.
It's a 6.
Oh, dearie me. Okay.
Wait, I have advantage, so don't actually 3d6.
Oh, you should have rolled another one. So at the moment, you've got a 4 and a 1. Roll another 1d6 and let's see what it looks like.
I'm just gonna dot a single one.
That's a 4 and 2 1s. Okay, so the best is a 5.
Can I help another hero here?
After a hero acts, ask if they can help. If you can help to improve their outcomes. Cola, do you want Gwylog's help?
The moment Gwylog said help, the only thing I could imagine is Gwylog using his immense strength, just like took Cola in his arm, just threw him at
the way this works is he offers to help you. You say yes or no. If you say yes, I ask Gwylog what he does.
Yeah, let's go with it.
Go for it, Gwylog. What do we see you doing?
No reason to say no. So as I see Cola draw his bow, I see that I'm the only coward here, and I can't have that. So I take my axe and just step to the worm and hack into its back with the strength of 10 men, of course, and that hopefully makes it so that it doesn't look at Cola, and Cola can place a shot.
Fine. So instead of looking straight on at Cola, it turns towards you and reveals the eye. I like that. Strength of 10 dead men means you face a challenge or act with violence. Roll plus soul.
No. Actually, no. I think I do without strength of 10 men because I want to check the steel bookmark. Check mark.
Fine. Roll plus steel.
Yeah. That is with -1. I'm very sorry, Cola. But I want that sweet tick mark. Check mark. Okay, that's an 8.
An 8. That looks encouraging. On a 7+, the fail becomes a marginal success. So the 6- becomes a 7 to 9, which is all good. You expose yourself to to some relevant danger, risk, or consequence, even if they don't. So if something goes, if there's a consequence of this, Gwylog, it comes your way, not Cola's. So
That is fair.
Cola. So this has become 7+. The defense is erased. It is no longer capable of striking quickly because you've hit it in one eye or above one eye or whatever, somewhere there. The threat picks 1. They use a power if they have one. They have the power to entangle. Heroes in the water with it must face a challenge to avoid being placed at disadvantage until they cancel it by gaining advantage. That is coming your way, Gwylog. You strike it, and as you do so, it turns towards you, and you feel its tail wrapping round your lower body. I think this is a strength challenge to avoid the entanglement, so I am prepared to use strength of 10 dead men here.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Roll plus soul.
Yep. That is a 7.
7 on a 7+. You mark harm doing it. It takes longer than you'd hoped. Respite is temporary. I think you mark harm. This is a larger than mortal threat. So you will take 2 harm. And remember, you mark down the first column, then go to the top of the second column.
So I'm dying.
Right. That's all happened. Izold, you have sufficiently distracted it to give Cola and Gwylog between them a chance to kind of do a bit of damage. So what do you do now, Izold?
Did we resolve Cola's move? Because it was actually help to Cola's move.
There was. I'm sorry. So it does. Oh, no, we have resolved it, haven't we? We got rid of the defense of Swift Strike, and the consequence on 7+ is the threat takes an action. It used the entanglement on Gwylog.
Okay.
Yeah. And Gwylog escapes but takes some harm doing it. I think that, yeah, that we've done all that, haven't we? Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead, Izold. What do you want to do now? Do you keep playing? Do you want to try again?
How can a storyteller affect a giant water snake?
Maybe there's an old legend about water snakes.
I used all of my legends so far. No new legends come to mind.
There is one of the outcomes for Look About You is to identify a weakness in a threat, and a weakness, if that could be attacked, would be at advantage.
Yeah, let's do it. I see my music as like the beast is now engaged in fight, so I just like stop playing and look at it, trying to see
I don't
how we
think
can
this
defeat the snake.
This is a big beast, but it's not a supernatural beast, so I don't think myths and monsters apply. So it's 2d6 plus sense to Look About You.
It's an 8.
Look at that. On a 7+. I think Izold probably shouts, "There's a soft spot under its jaw."
There's a missing scale in its armor.
Oh, of course there is. Cola called Bran. Go for it. So Cola, there's Izold says look under its chin. If there's the scales are further apart. There might be a missing one. What do you do, Cola? Because its remaining defense is hard scales. So you need to punch through those scales somehow.
We obviously need to damage there. An arrow might not be enough in this situation. So I know that Cola can throw his axe, because that says he...
Yeah, throw him close, yeah.
Yeah, so I think perhaps in this situation, Cola, upon seeing the soft spot, like the dent in the armor, if we're just going to take the axe like try to like aim it at that spot and then just throw it with all his might.
Yeah, so this thing rises up, ready to come down on one of you. And Cola, roll with advantage because you are now attacking its weakness.
Would that be plus sense because I'm aiming at it, or plus
Exactly.
steel?
Sense, I think. Small
Okay.
target.
Okay, that's one. That's an 11.
Oh, well, that's just fine, isn't it? So on a 7+, hard scales are penetrated, all its defenses are gone. On 10+, you also say how you... I keep meaning to add one to this. I'm sorry. I keep tweaking the rules in play. I apologize. One of the things that I've mean to add to this is when its defenses are gone, you could now immediately humble it. Yeah.
Let us
So,
humble again.
and I think that this is, it has to be a physical threat to this thing, doesn't it? There's no other way to humble a dumb animal.
Yeah, I think perhaps as like Cola throws his axe, the axe makes its mark. The creature probably like falls forward, like in pain. Cola probably just like ends up it, takes out the axe from the spot, and like probably just like has like his foot on this creature's neck, like in the axe point at its head, and I will need to. Do I need to not humble them, or do I just get it?
No, you have to roll to humble them. The advantage is you do it now before it can do anything else.
Yeah, okay, then I'm going to not humble. Humble is.
Well, that's I think what you've described is roll plus steal. Because it sounds like you're using physicality to me.
Actually, let me just talk my way through it. I was thinking, and maybe like that was changed, but it probably will not change it from still. And I was thinking like as, of course, like stand like above the creature, like with his axe point at its head, he kind of like just looks at it. It needs a remaining good eye, and just like decides to step away from the creature, like show it mercy, let it.
Well, you need to tell me what you're doing to humble it, and then I'll offer you the chance to show it mercy.
Yeah, probably just here I can just end you here, or I can let you go.
Yeah.
Safe passage.
Okay. I'll let that go to subtle if you like, rather than steal. Take your pick. Do you look intimidating enough?
Cora's an old man, so I'm not sure if, but he is does has a lot of experience with hunting.
He's a grizzled old hunter.
He's a hunter, yeah. So probably is like probably like maybe because like he always has like his hood. So maybe like he doesn't look that intimidating, but once you get close up to him, you like actually see like his face under the hood. Like you do see like this age determined eyes, like probably some battle scars on his face. So he probably does look intimidating up close.
So I'll give you an option on subtle.
I'm gonna take subtle. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go subtle in this case, just
Okay.
because
Go for
I
it.
always have a chance.
2d6 plus subtle.
That's a 5.
Oh my. Now, help yourself. I think that dealing with animals like this is within the remit of hunter. So if you wanted to owe your patron a debt or offer them a blood sacrifice, I would let you re-roll one or both dice. Just saying.
Let's.
Or take the fail.
I kind of want to take the fail.
Okay, fine. I will mark another box on the shade track. And on a 6-, you take harm as established, 2 harm, and they choose one of the 7+ lists, and the tail wraps around you. So Cola threatens it. It bites at him, and then wraps itself around him and begins to roll him under the water. Gwylog, what do you do? This was going so well, and it's suddenly gone horribly wrong.
Yes. So I think I cannot run away, so I have to hit it. With the strength of 10 dead men, I'm just jumping at it in the general direction of its head and trying to smack it with the axe.
Fine. Go for it.
That is
2d6
a 9.
plus soul.
Yep.
Oh, a 9. So on a 9, humble them. On 7+, they are at your mercy. Do they receive it, or do you end them?
I think it's just an animal. I'm not going to kill it if I don't have to. So I think I will extend my mercy to it.
And
it lets go of Cola.
with that one eye, maybe you're gripping it round the throat with one hand and showing it the axe. And with that one eye, you see it go wide, and then the tail unwraps from Cola, and you let it go, and it disappears into the deeper water. Does that seem fair?
That sounds good.
Okay. Well, that overran our first hour break, so let's take it now.
Okay.
So can I get 10 minutes to get a new cup of tea? So shall we reconvene at 1:30?
Yes. Sounds
Yes.
good.
To me.
See you then.
See you then. Yes.
So this location, you have seen off the threat, and you had to see off the threat if you were going to get an insight here. But I think, given Gwylog was the person who finally saw it off, I'm going to put this insight down to Gwylog.
Okay.
But what I want to do before you kind of phrase one is I want to have the mist clear a little, and you can see you're not very far now from the far bank of the estuary. And what's the word? I don't know what a group of seals is called. I was going to go with school, but a group of seals kind of begin to swim around you and head towards the far bank. Do you follow them, Gwylog?
Sure. That looks like important.
Because when 3 of them kind of loll up onto the beach the way that seals do, they roll over, and a beautiful naked young woman stands up from the skin of each of the 3 seals. What do you do, Gwylog?
Does that ring any bells, that like any story I've heard before?
I'm very happy for you to look about you to see what you remember.
Sure.
2d6 plus sense.
So finally sense. That's nice. Wait. Let me just quickly see how little sense I have. No, subtle is what I need, not sense. Oh, well. Okay, let's go. That is not great. It's a 5.
It's a 5. The only thing you remember, Gwylog, is that the skins of these creatures, the seal skins they just emerged from, are incredibly valuable.
But they're also are creatures of myth, and
they are. You
not
have
gonna
heard,
kill them over money.
You have heard of creatures called selkie.
Mhm.
Beautiful women clothed in the skin of seals. But those seal skins are of inestimable value, just in case you're interested.
No, I'm not.
But I think because that's your interest, I'm going to move the focus away from you as a cost of that failure. Oh, that reminds me. I need to mark the first on the second bit of shade, which allows me or requires me to do something. It requires me to manifest the darkness. And these three women are standing on the shore. I'm going to go to Cola, I think, because he's the hunter. He's likely to spot something first. And of course, on the other side of the river is where the forest is. And out of the forest, Cola, you see some dark tendrils emerging. They are clearly heading towards these three young women. What do you do, Cola? I am manifesting the darkness.
Okay. I'm gonna take this to the group. So I feel like perhaps Cola didn't like see the seals turn into a woman. Perhaps Cola just like a sad woman sees the darkness heading towards them. So Cola's instincts will be to try and protect them from the darkness. I'm kind of open to suggestions about like how should Cola do this? Just call out to them, or should like perhaps maybe
Well,
like
you
shoot
tell me,
at them?
because the clock is ticking, Cola. Do something, shout something.
Yeah, I think Cola is just going to like shout out to the woman like get away. He's going to probably like say like point at it like the incoming tendrils of darkness.
Okay. So I think roll to convince them. Let's have you roll plus subtle.
Yeah, okay, that's just that.
Because I want to see how they interpret. Do they understand what you say? Oh, on an 11.
11.
I think they and you probably point and they turn and in great fear they pick up their skins and they rush towards you into the water. Izold, what do you do?
I know, just standing there, the situation is like advancing. There are some seals, some women, some darkness over there, and the
There's
snake is
too much.
gone.
Izold is overwhelmed.
Yes.
I feel it.
Seems like he needs the guidance of the Christian God on his side.
Well, it's that moment in the game, isn't it, when people look at the GM thinking, what's going on here? And they rush towards you, Cola, because you warned them, and one of them takes your face and kisses you. And in that moment, you see a battle between the forest and the water. You see that the water creatures, or them, the selkie, are not able to spend time here because the forest has summoned a guardian in the shape of that water drake to drive them off. So the selkie cannot feed here, and they cannot help the villagers by herding fish in this direction, as they are wont to do. Now, this was going to be Gwylog's insight, but I think it just slipped away to Cola. Not that it matters, but then they throw their skins around them and disappear into the water. How do you want to phrase this insight, Cola? You're always welcome to poll the table, ask the table. But, you know, I'm going to come to you first because you acted swiftly.
I guess like how I would phrase it is maybe like just like an ancient conflict.
Ancient conflict, ... I go with that.
Is
So we've got an ancient treaty and an ancient conflict. Ooh.
Now,
That's
a
how-
question.
Go on.
Shouldn't you be marking shade every time we mark insight?
No, because that was advancing the clock too quickly. So no, I'm only marking shade when you fail.
Okay.
And that's giving us a clock that's moving at a reasonable rate.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
does anyone
And
have-
when they disappear away into the water, the tendrils, these dark tendrils, withdraw into the forest.
I wonder how to understand the situation because we sort of like got rid of the water snake, so now the situation should be clear, but it still isn't. Yes.
Oh well, I
We
mean the
haven't killed it.
insight that that Kohler is phrased is that there's an ancient conflict.
we could change like the wording on it if you think we could do something better. I'm not just like distilling the whole. There's something between like the Silkies and like the creatures of the forest. There's like there's a conflict of interest. Maybe it's not ancient. Maybe we just change it to conflict between supernatural forces.
Between the
So we
water
could-
and the forest.
Yes,
Water and the land.
yeah. So maybe just like change it from ancient to just supernatural conflict, so we can like have leeway if this is like an ancient conflict, or perhaps this is maybe
More
a recent
recent.
conflict.
Yeah. I'm tempted by supernatural conflict between water and land or water and forest. Does it matter?
I don't think it really does.
No, it doesn't, because
I-
forests are found on land.
Yeah, I prefer
Fine.
water and land. It just sounds better.
Yeah.
More poetic somehow.
So right now, roll for revelation at +0. Another 1 or 2 insights, and you begin to have a chance to set this up. So, what happens next? You're stood there, up to your knees in water. The mist has cleared on this side of the river. You can see this dark forest edge, just a matter of yards from the edge of the water.
And by the way, what happened with this like seal lady? Did they just like jump into the water and vanish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
they passed on what they had to say and slipped away. Clearly frightened by the forest.
Izold, being very wet through dredging through this estuary. How about we go back, take a good night's rest, and then we try to take another challenge on another day.
Aye, aye, that sounds good. But Isol, do you know stories? Do you have any inkling about what just happened? What was that ominous shadow from the forest?
Uh, at this moment, none.
I think to learn more about the forest, you need to cross the threshold. I know you'd love to know what you're going to face before you get there, but I don't think it's going to happen. What I did want to say, Dominic, for Gwylog is don't forget you have that ever-living move once per session when you've taken harm that did not end you. I don't want you to forget that you've got that inherent healing capacity, strange as it is. So Isolde's put on the table, let us retire back to the village and rest, because I think if nothing else, it would give you a chance to recover wearied or wounded.
I think, like, as we're leaving, Kola might just like point to the forest, like to his like hawk the forest and I can see if maybe the hawk can bring anything.
You want to
Potentially.
send the hawk into the forest?
I'm thinking perhaps maybe not the
Just
best.
asking.
I kind of do just. Yeah, I think I'm gonna send like the hawk into the forest like, just to see what it can find. But the hawk's
Okay.
probably smart enough to also just refuse to go in if it senses danger.
Well, let's find out, shall we? So roll to look about you with advantage.
Look about me. I forgot that sense again. There's much sense in this game.
There is so many things to see.
So that's a 5, that's a 6.
Well, will you look at that? The hawk does not come back. Dun, dun, dun. And I will mark another shade. How long do you wait there, Cola?
But the result is a 7.
No, because I got the advantage to take the 2 highest, which is a 2 and a 3, which is 5. I add my sense, which is 1, that's a 6.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Okay. Because I don't think this is a legitimate help yourself, to be honest, and I don't think anybody else can help. The hawk does not come back. It is somewhere in the forest. Now, Cola, the hard question I have to put to you is, are you now prepared to retreat to the village, or do you go in after the hawk?
What I was like imagining is that as Kolosek returning to the village, like he just like motions to the forest like to the hawk, and then he just goes to the village, and like he doesn't expect the hawk to come back like that. Like he expects the hawk to come back like, in a couple of hours. So perhaps we just play it out like what happens potentially now in the village, because Kola's probably going to wait until nighttime, potentially more early morning. And if the hallucinated, then will start to.
Okay, so this missing hawk has to be away for at least 12 hours before it's a cause of concern. That's fine. So Izold, Gwylog, do you want to do anything else with the evening, or do I cut to the following day?
I think I want to use my ever living.
Go ahead.
So I roll plus steel.
You
and
do.
I have to
grit your teeth and bear the pain as your wounds knit.
And I have to tell something that I've been cursed for.
Yeah,
but we'll come
because
to that
you have done many bad things.
Yes. Just quickly see what my steel was. Oh, -1. Great. Okay, that is not great. That is only a 5.
Ooh. I mean, this is entirely to do with Revenant, so you could help yourself here.
That is what I was just thinking, yeah. Help yourself. That is when you are dissatisfied, say how your calling is relevant, ask your patron for help, and pick one. Or your patron are dead, mark 1 harm. Okay, so I think that is actually the patron in question might be actually Kanonos, and since you like put such a fine point on how valuable the Selkies skins are, and I like so instinctively and vehemently said, no, I'm not going to hurt them. Maybe Gwylog did. Maybe Gwylog actually, did not
thought
slay.
About taking them.
Yeah, no, not actually slay some mythical animal, but happened upon one, or like had a choice where he could have saved one and didn't to gain money.
I think that's a bit too much of a retcon. I think
no, not this.
Oh, in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, with you.
Yeah.
With you.
Something that cursed him, right?
Yeah.
Some mythical being that he could have saved but didn't, and Kanonos saved, cursed him for that too.
Sorry, I understand now. So, owe your patron a debt?
Sure. For example, to save those ladies.
and then re-roll one or both of those die.
Mm-hmm. So they were both equally shit, so I'll just reroll both. Oh, well.
It's a close run thing. Is that -1? Did I?
It is -1.
So that 7 becomes a 6.
Mm.
Well.
It does. I'm afraid I'll have to eat it now.
Okay. So, but on a 6, you still clear dying, as I remember.
Let me see. Because I don't think I do. I do. Clear dying, but your scars weep until you leave the settlement. Roll seeming human to determine how well you have concealed them whenever you encounter mortal NPC. So what I'm thinking is that he probably the worm broke my ribs, and now the ribs are protruding from under my skin, and they're like seeping like pus and ichor, and that perpetually wets my shirt.
Fine. Let's. I won't make you roll seeming human yet. I just want to check it on the others. But I've got that seeming human on a shelf. Izold, is there anything you want to do with this evening, or are you just keen on a night's rest?
I actually would like to pay a visit to our energetic woodcrafter, Bedwer.
Okay.
Bedwer. And since we are the only 2 Christians in this town, and it's the evening, I hope that he will receive me somehow nice with his family. We can like pray together, eat a meal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe he will be kind enough to offer us like a place in his shed to sleep or something.
Yeah, he's very happy for you to sleep in his workshop. Is that all you're after here, Izold, or do you have any other motives?
I wanted to pray together with him and use this like a moment of us Christians reuniting in this village of Saxons to maybe ask him about the dealings of the village and what is happening, that they are raiding, and about the ruling of Lady Dongitu.
Okay, I think that probably this is whether he is willing to share this kind of information. I think there's certain stuff, but once you bring up the lady, I think that he's probably more nervous about that. So I think, but your shared Christianity is sufficient leverage that he may share that with you. So let's have you roll plus subtle to see how your subtle tongue manipulates the conversation.
Oh yeah, because convince cannot be rolled with soul. Damn it. I tried my best. Like I cannot like smack them with my fight in the battle. But I leave that for feedback. 8.
8. So okay, on an 8. Let's see. This one, no. Okay. He will share, but he expects you to find a priest and tell the priest to come to the village. Okay? Not while you're here, but when you go on your travels, find a priest and convince them to come here, because he feels that he needs, his family. There's not a priest here. No priest comes here. Okay.
Maybe he has like a baby awaiting. I forgot
christening.
the name of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So make a note of that somewhere on your sheet, just so we know that you're looking for a priest for Stenholm.
Yes.
But yes, he doesn't really trust Lady Dongifu. She is manipulative is too strong a word, but you're never quite certain whether she's telling you the truth. She's, what's the word he's looking for? Underhand, untrustworthy, likely to betray you. and he tells you some story about some trader who passed through, and she manipulated him into a bad deal, and then he ended up losing all his stuff. Okay?
Mhm.
Does that seem like a reasonable trade?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
the lady of the house is not to be the lady of the Stenholm is not to be trusted.
Cola, it is now beyond dusk. You would expect the hawk to be back in the light. There is no sign of the hawk. What do you do? Keep your fingers crossed and go to bed?
Yeah, I think Cola is just going to look like he's going to trust the hawk. Like perhaps even if it did so much trouble that it was able to maybe just escape it and it's now just hiding out somewhere. Plus Cola's taking a bit of damage fighting the sea serpent. And he probably isn't in the best condition to just now barge into the forest in the middle of darkness. So Cola's just going to
Grit his
just
teeth.
just with his teeth and just
Hope.
go to sleep for the evening.
Okay. You will get, I mean, Izold has gone off to break bread with another Christian. Gwylog and Cola, you will get to eat in the hall. It's pretty thin food, it must be said. It's mostly water, with the odd vegetable floating in it, and maybe an old bone. Gwylog, do you deliberately keep yourself to yourself in the evening, or is there a chance that people could interact with you, do you think?
Given that Gwylog is coming to some realizations about himself with the whole rib situation, I think I would like to seek out the storyteller, not our storyteller, the other one,
Yeah.
Alwyn, and just talk the whole thing through with him. My memory that I just had with the mythical beast and how that relates to the Selkie, and if he knows about the Selkie and that they're protecting the village and that they are in danger from the forest,
Okay.
and what we
Okay.
can do to help.
Okay. Before I forget,
Mhm.
Izold, I'm very happy for you to phrase an insight based on your conversation with Bedware, the energetic crafter, if you want one. So Gwylog, yes, I think that this is, you want him to give you some answers, don't you? So this is look about you.
Sure.
Roll plus sense.
Roll plus sense, he says.
Unless you go out into the night and pray to your gods for understanding.
No. Actually, I want to talk to learned men.
Okay.
It's a 4.
Wow, you lot were not rolling any fails last time. I only got to activate the shade track because you kept finding insights. Now we've changed the route. Oh, bleak. It's just become bleak. What option do I have at bleak? A manifestation of the darkness strikes at the heroes. Okay. So, yes. So, Gwylog, you are heading over to talk to Aelwyn. When, I'm thinking this hall, there's a fire pit. There are lots of people about. They're sharing food, such as it is. It's lots of flickering shadows around the edge. And suddenly there is a scream. And out of the shadows steps a hulking figure.
Ooh, okay.
And it looks at you, Gwylog, and charges. What do you do?
I'll.
Do you stay or do you go?
If you put it like that, I will confront it, and with the strength of 10 million men. And
just so the others know, Izold, you're in the hall. No, sorry, you're with the Christians. Sorry, you're at the Christians. Cola, you're outside the hall, wondering if there's any sign of the hawk when you hear the scream inside. Gwylog, this is an ogre. It has long reach, tough hide, and a high pain threshold.
Okay.
Okay. So which of those defenses are you trying to get past? Is this ducking under the long reach?
I think it's ducking under long reach. I'm thinking of trying to duck under long reach and then give it an X to the kneecap.
So
no, not with a 5.
Another 5?
Another 5? It was a
Holy
4
mother
before.
of God. Wow, that's amazing.
Give me another 5 rolls and I reach 10.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, if only there was XP on a failure, you would be kind of just racking them up. Fine. Okay. That I'm shocked. I'm so shocked. On a 6-, you take harm as established. So this is 2 harm. Which just about puts you even worse than you were before. And they choose 1 from the 7+ list, or the fate is less merciful. Grab and throw is the ogre's power.
Sure.
So as you kind of draw back to hit it, it grabs you and throws you across the hall. Grab and throw. The ogre grabs a hero and throws them out of the fight. Hero marks 2 harm when they land.
In addition to the 2 I just marked, or?
In addition to the 2 you just marked. Yeah, this is getting scary.
Yes. It is.
It is. It is indeed. Cola, you hear shouts and screams. Some people rush out of the hall. Clearly chaos is erupting in there. What do you do?
I imagine that Cola steps into the hole just as Gwylog is just thrown out of it. So Cola just sees this big ogre.
Well, let me ask Gwylog, do you want to be thrown out the doors as Cola comes into the door? Are you thrown past him?
Sure. If that helps his narrative, sure.
Cola, there you go. That's what's happened. What do you do?
I think this is a hole, so I'm imagining that there's maybe possibly a big chandelier hanging up above.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that because this big ogre, he knows that Izold isn't around, or at least isn't going to come here anytime soon. Gwylog, by far probably the most physically strongest, just got manhandled. So Coach is going to take aim at the chandelier to just drop it on the ogre and hopes that if it doesn't just kill it, it at least spins it stationary to the ground.
So I'm going to suggest that dropping this heavy wooden handle-bearing chandelier by putting an arrow through the rope holding it up there, so it's going to be roll plus sense, is, I think, a way of attacking its high pain threshold, because there's going to be hot wax and fire as well as the weight of the thing. So let's have you roll plus sense to try and overcome the defense of a high pain threshold.
And let's see. It's a 5.
Well, guys, you will be pleased to know that we just filled the shade track.
Cool.
Events take a turn. So that doesn't work. What can I have happen to you? Well, I don't think there's harm as established, because I don't think that it's not close enough to you, Cola, to do harm as established. But I think, therefore, I think this thing, that the chandelier drops into the fire pit, and there's a great kind of sparks and flames leap up So I'm going to put you at disadvantage because you back away from this explosion of fire. And I think I will also. No, that'll do me. That'll do me. I'll put you at disadvantage. So, Gwylog is in a heap with probably another broken rib. Cola is, pushed back from this burning. The hall could start to burn. Izold, you've just had the conversation with Bedwyr, and then you hear outside chaos erupts in the night. What do you do?
Yeah, I grab my bagpipe, my staff, hide your family and don't go out. And I rush toward the hall.
And, I guess you get there as Gwylog is climbing to his feet. Cola is backing away from this explosion of flames, and you arrive. And the ogre comes out of the hall.
I think I'm going to assert my free will to get rid of what I owe to my god.
Okay, which temptation does it say you have to take first?
I think if it's written on my card that I have to take it first, then I have to take it first anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's for me. It's word. Where are they? It's
up on row 24, I think.
I think it's slot for me.
You prefer to have others take action, -2 to help another, but +1 to convince them. Okay, well, let's see how silver-tongued you are. Gwylog, you clamber up, and you are not well.
Now I will do something while I arrive there as well.
I will remind you that if your dying track fills, time will freeze, and an emissary of your god will have a conversation about whether you want to go back.
Yes, I already have an idea about how that works out.
So you may want to engineer some more harm. I don't know. Depends on which way you go.
I may indeed.
So you clamber to your feet, and again, a dislocated shoulder
pops back.
But it's just about working. Maybe now the rib has been pushed inside and blood is leaking from your abdomen. Anyone looking at you in a good light says that person has no time at all to live. And yet there you are, moving about. What do you do, Gwylog?
So what is the situation with the ogre now?
The ogre has burst out of the hall. Cola is probably nearest. Izold has just arrived, and you're a couple of paces behind them where you landed.
Okay, so the ogre is still standing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go up and basically I can do that all day move. I just go. I will not flee again, and I lumber forward, not very agile anymore, with my and look more like a dead man than a living man, and just hack at the ogre.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing, that blood is leaking from you, but it's leaking really slowly. So yeah, let's have you go roll plus soul. Are you I'm assuming that you are trying to just, holy mother of God.
At least it's an 8.
I thought that it was another 6. Hell, fire. Okay. So yes, that is enough to overcome. I would suggest tough hide.
Sure.
I think that you are able to hack through the tough hide on this hulking, necklace, bundle of muscles about 8
just
feet
with
tall.
Fierce determination of an automaton.
Yes. My guess is Cola and Izold, you see him do this and you think, he should be resting.
And like with every strike, just die already.
Izold, what do you do?
I think. So what defenses is left on the ogre?
It's got high pain threshold because the trick with the chandelier didn't work, and it's got a long reach to try and keep you at bay.
Yeah, why not? Why not do it? I think since I have, I think I look to the skies, and I say, if you keep throwing big things at me, at least you might want to help sometimes. And I rush at it with my stick with the intent of using smite so that I can break its arm with my staff.
Fine, fine. So you want to smite it and crush that long reach.
Yes.
Fine. Okay, so let's have you roll to invoke your gift. Roll plus favor. And I think because you took that temptation, your favor is back up to whatever it was before. Yeah?
0.
0. So what's not to like? So roll plus 0 to see whether the Christ God is finally. Oh, look at that. It's a 10.
This
A
time he listens, I
natural
guess.
10. Okay, so on 7 plus, they empower your gift and you achieve your aim. Well, you know, it happens, but you need to owe them a debt or make a blood sacrifice.
Uh,
Because nothing's for free.
yeah. I'm just thinking, do we think like a sacrifice like I have to cut myself, or is it enough if the ogre smacks me and I like take one harm in the process of like smacking its
I'm very
arm?
happy for either of those to be true.
Yeah, I think as I'm like hammering its head with my quarterstaff, I think it like backhands me so that I will take some harm.
Fine, take one harm. On 7 line, the fate picks ones. You attract unwelcome attention. Oh, sorry, no, on 10 plus, you pick one. Your gift has greater, pick one. Impact, scope, scale, or duration.
And I think there are 2 more dots. Yes, you gain advantage.
Mhm.
Advantage. Your patron refuses your death or blood sacrifice. I think it has 1 more defenses left, like tough height. Yes.
It has, no, long reach is gone. You've just done that one.
Yeah.
High pain threshold.
High
I
pain
mean,
threshold.
if you would choose the one that said has greater scale, I'd let you take 2 of the defenses out.
That's what I was angling for. It looks really weird.
Oh, it goes.
It looks really
Cradling
weird
its
for
shattered
Izold.
arm.
For Izold to use his staff to somehow like block his arm and then like apply pressure to his arm, so that it really starts to pain the ogre.
He is in great pain. And so you smited him. Smote him is the word I'm looking for. Cola, you see that Izold has gone in and quite how, you know, maybe there's a, you know, the staff has snapped a bit because he hit that ogre with, you know, such vigor. What do you do, Cola? It has no defenses left. You could now try to humble it.
Could he do anything that encounter he just started a fire in the hall? So I don't really want to take this moment from Izold or Glory. Like this is their moment. They should have the final say in it.
Okay, so you're gonna hope that Isold can that you hope that Gwylog is going to take the same approach and leave Isold to apply the coup de grace. Gwylog, what do you do?
Just from the last action, I should have taken a damage from that too, right? Because it was just a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, and I kind of wanna take the last get the
You
last
just feel the humble
bit of damage. Yeah. I could humble him. Yeah. Yeah, I think I would do that. So when you confront a threat that has no defense in the hope of putting them at your mercy, say how you aim to do that and roll with the attribute the fates say is most relevant. Okay, maybe we can think of something that lets me roll with the one that I'm still missing, which is
subtle.
Subtle.
To do with the subtlety of your tongue, ability to misdirect, and your native cunning.
mm,
Can you think of
What
a
could-
cunning plan here?
what could apply? Mm, mm, yeah, actually. And also like kind of get my burden into play a bit. You want to make a connection, +1 to convince them. Like I can't even hide it from myself, the state that I'm in, and I look at the ogre and look in its eye, holding its like its arm, and I'm going like, you and I, we are more alike than you think, and than any of these people think. I give you one chance to escape. Take it.
Okay, let's have you roll with subtle.
Mm-hmm. Subtle is +1. And wasn't there something with convincing? +1
Yeah,
to
no,
convince
but
him.
you're not using the convince move.
Oh, okay. Well then, let's hit it. 6.
At this point, Cola, do you see an opportunity to offer to help another hero?
Yeah, I'm going to help Gwylog in the situation. Like, perhaps the... Oh god. Like looks at Gwylog and like plans like to maybe like use its other hand to just like maybe like smack Gwylog away and like continue his attack. But in that moment, Cola, they need to actually do it for help another. Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, just
I
standing
think,
behind me with your drawn bow would be enough of an assist,
yeah.
actually.
Threaten
Yes,
it.
yes, I think Cola, upon like maybe seeing the ogre like not taking Gwylog's off, it would just like dash into view, be like a bonage down, like really close to its like face and just like not see anything, like just nod back to Gwylog. So the ogre like just acknowledges Gwylog again.
I think that is roll with subtle or roll with steel.
I'm going to take steal because we need a win this time.
Okay.
So it's a +2. Okay, that's a 10.
Oh, a 10. Okay. So on a 10, on 7+, their outcome improves by 1 step from 6 to 7 to 9, 7 to 9 to 10+. So that goes to 7 to 9. You're not subject to any risk from that cola because of the 10+. So on a 7+, they are at your mercy. Do they receive it or do you end them? You offered it the chance to run away.
Yeah.
Is that right, Gwylog?
Mm-hmm.
It turns to one side and it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom.
No, just stepped out of in the way that it stepped out of the shadows in the hall. It just seems to just step into empty space.
Mm.
By which time people are beginning to form a bucket chain from the river to put out the fire in the hall.
Mm.
I am going to, because I'd forgotten about this, I can spend shade because you've given me a surplus of shade. I'm going to spend a shade to, in addition to whatever outcome the hero rolled. Gwylog. Oh, actually, this is a meta question to Dominic. Dominic, do you want to meet your maker? Do you want to die?
Yes.
Just to see the judgment move in action?
Yes.
Because by spending that shade, I can do anything I like to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I will apply another harm and have you keel over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
That sounds more fitting than anything else I could think of.
And there is a common move called Face Judgment. When your dying track fills, the action around you is frozen and you enter the presence of your patron or their emissary. Now, do you want to frame the scene we now see you in?
Yes, I do.
Go on.
Okay, so what happens is that Gwylog keels over and a single crow descends from the heavens and lands on his back and starts to peck at his neck. And what Gwylog sees is 3 women stepping out of the shade, and they surround him and they go like, "Oh, you little man, you gave up too early. That is a shame. You have more to do. You've put great sin on your chest. And you're not done yet. Get up. Don't be a coward. Don't be lazy. Get up and do your work." And at that, the crow flies off. And the move, we just see where it was. Offers me to gain 1 soul, and that is the one that I would take.
Okay. +1 soul as your connection to them grows. That one will go off the table now. If you get to judgment again, soul won't be on the table for you.
Yes, to the Morrigan in this case.
But yes.
What happens to my check marks, to the dying and to the...
Okay. So they will return you to life with dying cleared. So all 4 of those dying boxes are cleared. The wearied and wounded stay in place.
That's fair.
Yeah. So you and you know, everyone is standing around you, lying there, looking very dead. How do you wake from this? Is there a kind of cough and a splutter or what? I'm just curious.
I think like as Gwylog was hacking away at the ogre, I wrote it in the chat, and I really like that idea. Like he was visibly wheezing like a bellow, like from a broken windpipe and a broken chest and all that.
Or a
and
bagpipe.
Yeah, and that wheezing stopped for a moment, and then it starts again. No, it's more like he lies on his stomach, and it's like this wheezing sound, and it's not like this startling, like it's just like and then stops, and then starts without much like drama or fanfare.
Fine. Now I am inclined to say that is an appropriate point to pause this episode, because I think it seems almost to me inevitable at some point you are going to head to the forest, either to get an insight or in search of some revelation. And it feels like there's not enough time in the next 20 minutes to really do that justice. So I'm inclined to say let's cut the episode with Gwylog's resurrection, because there's a nice thing about he resurrected the bird at the end of episode 1, and now he breathes. He's life is breathed into him in episode 2. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to cut episode 2 there. Yeah, okay. And then episode 3, we've got a bit of space to kind of explore forests and stuff. I would like
4, right?
Say again.
Episode 4.
Yeah. Our finale session in a week's time. So I would like to do a quick stars and wishes, if that's okay.
Yes.
So let's do a different. Let's start with Dominic. Any stars, any wishes?
That was a bit sudden.
Well, no, then take a pause.
Yeah. I would, pass it on and maybe have a later go.
Okay. Pavel, you got ready to rock?
Yes. It was awesome to go into the mist and defeat the water snake.
It's almost like you should have a game called Mist and Monsters.
I really like that there is now a mechanic to spend shade, although apparently it builds up faster than anything. I really liked how that Cola sent his bird. The bird didn't return, and I'm really curious what will happen next session. How us we're going to go and rescue the bird.
I hadn't thought of it as entering the forest to rescue the bird, but now I am. Yeah, absolutely.
I really liked the scene of Gwylog dying and being sent back to do some mystery work for his old god. That was awesome.
Any wishes?
Wishes. I wish less of the game was relying on look about
Sense.
you. On look about you, because it feels like we are look about you, whatever we do, we look about you, and it's
Okay.
sense.
I think there is probably if you begin to try to develop advantage for other people to use, I think. So consider face a challenge, which could use anything, as a way to create an advantage that somebody else. So build some moves maybe together to get a string of things to work, would be what I'd say to you. Because you're right, there is a lot of look about you because it's a mystery to solve, and I guess it goes with the territory.
I think perhaps like one of the issues that we're personally into with a look about you is that it seems like at least once, maybe like 2 times per session, all of us can like split up and we do our own thing, and that kind of like it doesn't really allow us to like help each other out and build something up, because we are kind of looking about like for clues, like potentially if we wanted to, we could potentially maybe try and convince more people to have like, instead of just being like, hey, what do we see? Maybe we should also kind of like rephrase like, okay, see this person, I maybe like roughly know what their description, like their position in the village is. Let me convince them to alien. Like
Yeah.
that also.
Yeah, I could go with that. Convince a bit in the way that Izold convinced the Christian woodcrafter to tell him about something. Yeah. But I take your point. There is a lot of sense. What I can't think of is how to make other attributes apply to what is basically the investigate move.
For example, I was sort of angling at maybe having to convince looking for the name, Elwyn, to tell me some old stories, because maybe the lady like forbid him from telling them.
Oh,
so I was angling like toward like convince her rather than this.
Oh well, look.
Rather than look about you.
Next time, Pavel, come back to me if I seem to be railroading you in to look about you. That's my heavy touch.
Okay. My another wish is to see a basic move targeting soul. That is not a combat one, because
I think face a challenge, I would suggest. Pray for guidance as I enter the mist.
Maybe I do not like face the challenge yet. I'm not sure if we used it once even. I'm not sure. But what I mean is that, so for example, look about you is like hard-coded sense. Convince them as like hard-coded subtle. I would like to see, I'm not sure what. Maybe you can look about you by praying to the god and receiving a vision, and then you're all soul.
There might be some mileage in that. There might be some mileage in that.
So just wishing that there is like a basic move hard-coded to like soul somehow, that other than I can try to trigger it, because I also do not consider my character like a priest, so I wouldn't like pray for everything. So then it's like hard for me to like use other moves. So that's a minor wish. Other than that, I wish to see what hides in the forest.
Dom, any stars, any wishes?
Yes.
Go on, Dominic. Yeah, Dominic's had to think about it. I'll come back to Dom.
You can go
Dominic.
ahead, Dom. Dom, go ahead. You're
go
raising
on,
your finger.
Okay.
First, he doesn't want to talk, then he wants to talk. What are you to do?
The issues of having 2 people with the same name.
Yeah, no, it's tricky.
Yeah. So for my start, like I enjoyed like the sea serpent, the water serpent that we had to fight. and I do like the whole. It has like the boxes, like the mechanics it has, and you have to just get rid of those instead of it having like an actual HP pool that you need to dwindle down. So I can enjoy that aspect. I liked starts for Dominic and Gwylog's whole meet the patient scene. Starts also to Paranizot with the whole bagpipes and just charming this sea serpent, the whole encounter I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the kind of slow narrative that you're kind of building with details in this kind of potential conflict that's happening between forces and how things come with the village ties into it all. And
Any wishes?
yeah, for starts for wishes, I want to see how that's what happens in the forest, because we have been building up quite a bit to the forest.
Yeah.
And when I just get us in there and see what happens. As for wishes, I think maybe just to kind of echo what Paul said, is that I do kind of feel the soul, one of its biggest uses is when you're using your gift. And some gifts say it's in sound that may actually be pretty handy in an investigation, because Cola could potentially see or hear about something that could be a clue that could lead us somewhere. But something like a smite or a pain's bomb, that it doesn't really have a big investigative. That's more of combat. Or pain's bomb, not so much combat, but it is kind of can be used after
Yeah,
combat.
it's that some are more generally applicable than others, conceivably.
Yes, I feel I do like that art of the moves kind of are the after the fate to decide, because that also kind of puts the focus on us and how we wanna structure what we wanna do to incorporate soul. Kind of how in the mist, how I originally fast I'm gonna just use this whole sense hunter if it has a good hearing, good smell, but there's actually could potentially just play to the gods and have that help me out. So it was that's what I'm gonna think I was aiming for. Because I think okay, I need to figure out how to put soul somewhere. And you do know that Look About You is kind of hard coded to sense, but it's one of those things I feel especially in these kind of type of settings where we do have gods and patrons, that soul should be kind of applicable to also a general play. He helped me out here, just throw me a bone.
Yeah. No, I get that. I'll give that some thought, because I think there is something about you have been chosen by your gods for these roles, or you're in the case of the unearthly, you're driven by some inner drive to do some good. And soul ought to be more generally applicable. I think you're right. I'll give that some thought. And then background, Dominic, rather than Dom, any stars, any wishes?
So for stars, I basically give +1 to everything Dom said. And in addition to that, I really, and it was totally by accident, and I really liked that book, and because I had forgotten that we started with the bird, and the raven at the end was because it's the Morrigan's bird, but it was such a nice mirror image, and that was really a nice case of emergent storytelling. And as for wishes, I have two, although I forgot one. One is that I just noticed. Yes, and then Colla's hawk. Yeah. Is that I just was clicking through the Gifts and Temptations tab and noticed that I have no idea how they work, nor have I used the assert your free will and the seek solace in friendship. And I think both are quite relevant to Gwylog. And if we can at all make that happen, I would like a scene where you could basically walk me through how these moves work.
Yeah, fine.
Because I'm not entirely sure I understand them, but they seem important.
Yeah, I
And
mean, just to get you thinking on this, if you look at the debts shade and entanglement tab, there's an example there of erase a debt you owe your patron when you, and you can choose temptation. There are some other options there that will just give you a chance to knock the debt down. So, because otherwise favor just gets more and more difficult to use. So the idea is that you take a temptation to get a debt back, and the only way you can get rid of a temptation is the move, which is seek solace in friendship, which is the kind of it's the move that's intended to force you to have a little heart to heart with one another.
And this entire debt and patron and all that economy is like a bit underused so far. Like I feel there's an entire mechanic that we're just like not using, and I would like to see how that works in play.
Fine. Well,
I think you guys should have acquired some debt because both of you were using help yourself, and help yourself can give you debt. So I'm not sure who. I think each of you used it at least once. So
what I can't remember is whether you took harm instead. Don't know.
I don't know either. But we can just imagine that I did. I don't know. Yeah, and the other one, I just remembered what the other one is. Again, like mechanics that I haven't gotten to use yet would be to have an insight. Like I almost had one, and then
and then you rolled a 6- and it all just evaporated. I'd even written your name next to that one.
And I would have had such a nice idea about it too. Anyway, so I would like to get to do that too.
Fine. Well, let's try to find a way early on next time to put Gwylog on the score sheet. Because it would be good. Okay.
Yes.
My stars, just for what it's worth. I really liked the way that you all interacted to try and get the sea serpent out the way. Thank you, Dominic, for leaning into dying, so we could see judgment in action.
That by the way, also a star, like that you have this GM resource, and you could just make that happen, because I found it very frustrating to be left standing with 1 hit point.
Yeah. And I need to be thinking more on my feet about spending that shade. I knew I'd put that in. I knew I couldn't get my head around why is shade advancing so quickly? Because you're not spending it, you idiot. Slap. So hopefully that'll give me a bit more flexibility. I love the Cola sending the hawk into the forest. I mean, I did ask, you want to send the hawk into the dark forest and then give me a chance to take it away. So I appreciated that. Thank you. And Pavel, I love that Izold chose bagpipes just in general, because he's used them in a variety of different circumstances. I think a 10 to me there to draw the attention of to create advantage for somebody else was spot on. And then we even got the bagpipe reference when Gwylog is dying. So, it's just, the bagpipes have added a lot to this story. So I'm going to stop the recording there. So wave bye-bye to the internet.
Bye-bye.